Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to the all-new 4th generation Maruti Suzuki Swift. The very first Swift came to India in 2005 and 4 generations later we have this. Over the past 19 years, the car has sold over 2.9 million units. That's over 29 lakh Swifts on Indian roads. Talking points on this one is what we're going to cover over this video, and of course we have to start with the way it looks. Now up front it is clearly identifiable as a Swift, but Suzuki has done enough to give this an identity of its own. Let's talk of familiar bits first. The swept back headlamps that get a smoked out finish, L-shaped DRLs, something that we've seen on older Swifts. You also get a pretty nice and large gloss black grille, which looks attractive, but perhaps what gives this Swift a look very unique to the others is this lower bonnet and a very prominent clamshell-like effect for the bonnet. I can't tell right now, this does look quite prominent. I don't know how it'll look when we are out in daylight. Now over to the sides. At the sides too, the story remains the same. This is very clearly a Swift, but there are certain design distinctions. For instance, you get this very prominent shoulder line that runs right from the bonnet to the tail lamps. Now at the sides, one very important critical difference from the 3rd gen model is the position of the rear door handles. They're back on the door from the C-pillar. Things that you have seen on older Swifts is this contrast roof effect. It looks very attractive. You also get 15-inch diamond cut alloy wheels, quite stylish, but the wheelbase at 2450 millimeters remains the same. The tail end has always been the most attractive angle of the Swift to me, and that remains true on this one as well. It's still got these very pronounced hips at the sides that flow into the tail end. The tail lamps are slightly more angular this time around, but they get a very nice LED DRL effect. Bumpers, nothing out of the ordinary, but Maruti says that the boot lip has been lowered to ease loading and unloading luggage. Now that's how the Swift looks on the outside. Let us know what you think of the way it does in the comments below. On the inside, the Swift is very different to the older version, but there is quite a lot familiar to the latest lot of Marutis like the Baleno and Fronx. Now the dashboard is different in look to those models, but it still carries this layered appearance and it does look quite attractive. Now the Swift carries an all-black theme with certain elements finished in silver right here, and it does look quite sporty. The seats are nice and large. They're pretty well contoured on the sides. They feel quite sporty. Now talking of the upgrades inside the cabin, Maruti has put in a lot of features, and headlining that list is a 9-inch touchscreen that gets connected tech, wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay, and a whole lot more. We've experienced it on other Marutis and it is a really nice system. You also get a wireless phone charger lower down, auto climate control that seems to be borrowed from the Baleno and Fronx. There's a 4.2-inch MID between the analog dials. It's a pretty neat setup. It doesn't look quite cutting edge. The other area where the Swift has taken a huge step forward is in standard safety equipment. You get 6 airbags, ESP, ABS with EBD, hill start assist, all part of standard equipment. Also included are 3-point seat belts for all seats. In terms of cabin quality, it's familiar Maruti fare, so quite a lot of hard plastics, and you will find a lot of elements shared with other Maruti models such as the steering and of course the traditional Maruti power window switches. Now talking of rear seat space, it doesn't feel all that different from the 3rd generation Swift. It's a reasonably roomy cabin as long as it's just 2 of you at the back. A 3rd person would be a tight fit. However, you do get adjustable headrests and 3-point seat belts for all 3 seats. The center passenger doesn't get an adjustable headrest. Talking of features at the back, you get rear AC vents, which is a first for the Swift. You also get Type A and Type C USB charging ports. The Swift is still based on Suzuki's hard-tech platform, so in its basic underpinnings, it's not all that different from the preceding generation model. Where it is very different is under the hood. Out goes the 4-cylinder 1.2-litre K12 engine, and in comes a new 3-cylinder 1.2-litre engine called the Z12. Now this engine makes about 82 horsepower, which is about 8 horsepower less than the previous engine, but fuel economy has gone up. It's up to 25.4 kpl on the AMT versions. The manuals are around the 24.5 kpl mark. Now, Maruti says the engine has been tuned for low-end grunt, so drivability should be really good. You get a 5-speed manual gearbox, you get a 5-speed AMT, and Maruti has replaced the cable-actuated clutch with a hydraulic unit, so it should be easier to modulate as well. Now, talking off the platform, Maruti has given it a lot more safety features, but there's still no global NCAP or Bharat NCAP rating as yet. We will be hoping that Maruti presents this car and we'll know what and how it stands on that front. Prices for the new Swift start at 6.49 lakh rupees for the base petrol manual and go up all the way to 9.64 lakh rupees for the top spec AMT. Now that's your very brief introduction to the all new Swift. What do you think about it? Can it take the Swift sales figures to 3 million and way beyond? Let us know in the comment section below.